They've told me where they're placing my character, like the new environment he's in, and where they want to go. However, I know with a show like this that can change at any minute, depending on, if they bring a new character into the show and they really want to carry on writing for that character, they will do that. It happened last year. Luke was meant to get killed off in an earlier episode, and it was stretched out. So I take everything with a bit of a pinch of salt because I know everything can change, but I just know the seed of where I'm starting and what my overall objective is. So everything within that, I don't know.
I'm pretty much the same. I had a meeting, I had to sit down with the writers and sort of gave my point of view, what I really liked last year, what I'd be excited about doing this year, and they gave me, it's chaos in that room, everything on the walls, they've got just so many ideas, so we kind of went through what maybe is going to happen, and because there are some big points. I think starting the season, it's good to know exactly where Max's head is, and what she's planning for. But things are going to change, and I think that's inevitable. And also knowing what works and what doesn't work, and what the fan reaction is, and that kind of thing. It plays a part. Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm especially. Jennifer Johnson is our new showrunner, and she is just so open,
collaborative. Absolutely.
I mean, she's brilliant. She's got a million ideas of her own, but she's very open to hearing what we want to do as well. Yeah.
She's also very excited about creating a show, a new season for the show that is going to be unexpected. So not just the same, like kind of what Kevin's been saying and Marcus has been saying. It's not the same story or a carry on. They're really resetting the show, and Jen is as excited to create that as we are to be a part of that. So, I didn't get brought into the writers' room last year. It's wonderful to be invited in, and we had an amazing writing staff last year, so it's pretty exciting. And
I think they really want to know, because this year is more about the central characters than the killers themselves. So I think they want to get our input.
Yeah.
So Max has a really strong moral center in season 2, and now she's involved with somebody who's maybe not quite where she is mentally. Do you think she gets drawn more towards that direction, or is she going to be over with Ryan with the more moral side?
Well, I would almost say that maybe she's slightly naive, because I don't think she can comprehend what exactly she's going to very soon. Obviously Mike's father died, and she saw the absolute horror that he was going through and killing Lily, but there's something that connects her to him, that maybe it's the trauma of going through all of that she's connected to him. So I think this year she's going to find out a lot more of how badly this has affected him, meaning more into his personal life. She's going to see a lot more into his personal life with his family, with more of the other things that have been harmed. But I don't foresee her giving in to some bad side. You know what I mean? I think if anything, she's smart enough to witness it, see it happening, and pull herself away, or try to pull her counterpart Mike or Ryan away as well before the bad goes down. But will she do that? I don't know.
Your character is really in a lonely place right now.
Yeah, I think so. I can imagine.
And how much more can your character maintain and still hold it together?
Well, I think that's
to get your revenge.
Well, I think that's a wonderful thing about with this season, again, them resetting a year later. He's had time to go through what he's needed to go through. And, I've said a bunch of times, losing one of those brothers would have had there's no bigger impact it could have had on either one of them. So, and particularly for Mark, who was always more kind of in tune with his emotions in a very kind of in a healthier way than Luke was. It's definitely going to shake him up. And that's wonderful about where we start with Mark in this season. He's already gone through a transformation of some kind to get through the grief, whatever he's going through. So, and then we kind of see what led up to that point. So I think it's going to be pretty... He's in a very, very different place than where you saw him last.
Is he going to be a leader or a follower?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't had my writers room meeting yet, so I have no idea. But I think it says a lot about the show. I think that, you know, the idea of kind of bigger metaphor I've always taken from the show is that, does everyone have it in them to be a leader? What do people want from leaders? Who needs to be a leader? Is Joe Carroll a great leader? Not really. He wasn't in season 2. He wasn't a great leader. And what does that mean in society? And I think for Mark, who's always kind of seen as the subordinate to Luke, when you get rid of Luke, how can Mark survive? Does he need to become a leader, or can he just, I don't know, it's interesting. It's a lot of questions. Deep. It's a deep show.
Jessica, I just wanted to say that I was really excited when you joined the show. I've always followed your career. I've always loved you. How was it for you transitioning into such a different type of show than I've seen you in before? And could you also both talk about what's been the most challenging thing for you to tackle in your roles?
These characters, yeah. Thank you, first of all. You know, going into it season 2, having not started with the pilots is always, it's a big transition. It's a big change. I was nervous about it, but I knew that first season, every episode, top to bottom, it was my favorite show. I didn't miss it when it came on. So I was so prepared. Even when the audition came, like, I just knew what was going on in the show. I was just so ready. So when it was actually time for me to go and film in New York, I mean, I basically had the final test on a Friday, booked it on a Monday, and then traveled to New York on Tuesday and started working on Wednesday. So it was like a very, very fast.
Yeah, we were excited to go. Okay, so when's this actor turning up? Like,
showed up like 2 in the morning or something for my first scene. But everybody's been incredible, so it's been a nice transition. As far as the actual work itself, I've always loved more of like a strong woman type thing. I like playing soldiers, or I like playing, you know, someone who's tough or can handle herself. So that to me was refreshing. I mean, my characters in the past, maybe Silver in particular, yeah, she was strong, but very girly in a lot of ways, you know, couldn't throw anything, you know, like, so for me this is like, oh, finally I can show off, you know, I'm an athlete, I can do this. Yeah, and then I think the most challenging thing is, what is the most challenging thing this year is really, honestly for me, it's probably knowing that there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world. And I love this show and this type of thing because it is an escape, you know? You get to kind of like watch this thing that's streamy in a way, and you get to forget about your own reality. But then, you know, I see some of these killers that are out there. I see some of the bad stuff that's going on. And not that I think that we're giving them ideas, and I think Kevin Williamson had a great thing that he said earlier. Yeah. But that's the thing that I deal with the most, that I think about the most.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think outside of actually shooting, I mean, playing twins was a challenge in itself, but yeah, there's a responsibility for artists to what they put out there with their work, and I'm incredibly blessed to be on this show, and I love my characters, my character now, and but yeah, it is true especially when there's been such a huge fan reaction and people do really get very heavily involved in the show, and it deals with people on the edge of, or totally over the edge of, you know, in terms of mental health, you know, all that kind of stuff, and it is a dangerous time we live in right now. Right. So I feel a sense of responsibility, even with things like when Mandy got beat up, when the twins beat up Mandy and killed Mandy. I didn't like doing that. I didn't like what I was putting out as a human. Like, oh, this is terrible. I mean, I've done other sick things as well, but
you can't judge your character.
You can't
right?
judge. So yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge of the show as well. But I agree, it's fiction, so you have to just kind of own it and embrace it. But it is a struggle.
Yeah.